a little bit lower might be better. It's kind of difficult to balance my face in the tree and everything, and I kind of have to lean it towards this side because there's a little white table here. So trying to, there we go. And then upside down. Woo. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There we go. Good morning, don't go Team Berry. So today is, we are almost ending. It's the 17th. We have 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Well, we still have a week to go. This year, Christmas is not holiday, right? For Japanese people. It's Wednesday. Okay. So my company's off. It's a more like international based company, so if I don't like let people take a 24th and 25th off, and then I probably have a strike or something. So I usually give people paid holiday for those 2 days. But ohayou gozaimasu, go Team Berry. We got Ryan and John. Aloha. Alrighty, so we're gonna start with the advent calendar. This is yeah, I rip it too much. There we go, a little bit better. Tennessee, go Team Berry. Alright, so 17 is over here. It looks a little smaller. But today, Village, go Team Berry. So we are going to talk about like do's and don'ts in Japan. I thought that's like a very common topic that, and I forgot to kind of include it. And I think we talked about Japanese manners and whatnot, but like I never talked about something you shouldn't do. So we're gonna talk about if you can think of anything that Japan doesn't really accept, something that you might do if you didn't know, kind of thing. The baseline is that, well, it's hard to tell if you have, Asian feature. Like once you get to talk to the person and you realize that, oh, she's not Japanese, she doesn't speak Japanese, or he doesn't speak Japanese, right? And so it's not gonna be, oh, Tennessee, thank you so much every time. Gifted. Who got it? Joe's. Hi. I can't really say like because of the green. Sean Jones. Congratulations, welcome to the team. But don't anger Japanese people or else. But yeah, kinda. The most of Japanese people are acceptable because jaywalking. I do that. Jaywalking, I don't think jaywalking is not that big of a deal in Japan. I mean, don't do it. Like, there are people. There was a news couple days ago that I just don't understand. Like, if you were just like walking by yourself or something and then you were really cautious, or like if you got into really open space and then there are no cars coming, it's like, I'm not, or like there are so tiny streets that you can just hop, step, and then you can go to the other side and there's no car coming. And yeah, like some people just like, but one, if you do that in front of the cop car and then they would just like do the announcement like, don't walk on the street, you use the, you follow the light and then things like that, but they don't do anything more than that. But there was a news a couple days ago, it was really sad news that I don't know where, I don't think it's Tokyo, but the mother and the baby. So I'm sure you have watched Norm's bike video. I did the research for him. So the data and everything rules are very accurate, very accurate. Um, but up to 1 years old or something, you are allowed to strap your baby. And you have to, I think it's gonna bring up a debate later on, but you are not allowed to carry the baby in front of you, in front, like here. Use the dakko himo, the strap. But I think that's a lot safer because when something happens, Wayne, go Team Berry, you would protect your child and then fall like this, right? And then you would land on your shoulder or something. And that would be safer for the baby compared to strapping on the back. But you can't really protect your back, you know? So, I like, any animals have guts in the front. So naturally they would protect their guts, right? But under the Japanese law, you can only strap your baby to the back when you're riding a bicycle. And this young mother with a 7-month-old child riding a bike, and well, she decided to go across the street ignoring a light, and there was like 2 lanes, and in this lane there are cars just parked, not parked, but like they were stopped at the light or something, or maybe traffic jam, whatever. On the other side was just smooth moving traffic, and she decided to cut through it, but she wasn't paying attention, and so the car that came from this angle, like the further lane, hit her. Well, it happens, right? But it's completely the bicycle's fault. But what it did is that it killed the baby, and the driver of the car, of course, got arrested. But on the internet, it was a huge debate. It's more like, well, why the drivers had to get arrested, you know? Like, she was just following the light. And then this young mother, even she had a 7-month-old baby, she decided to cut through and then got hit. So it's clearly the bicycle. So it's sad the baby died, but still it's her fault, right? So I guess like they have to arrest the driver, regardless of the situation, because the outcome is that he hit someone and then died, right? Then they would decide whether or not they would charge her. So probably the driver is not gonna be charged, but yes, so we do a lot of jaywalking and then crossing the street, ignoring the light. But just don't do it when you have a baby on your back. Anyway, it's not just your life that you're risking. Anyway, either way, like even if the baby survives for some reason and then you died and then they lose a mother or dad, right? So anyway, I didn't want to start the story really sad, but we are going to talk about something that you shouldn't do in Japan. All right, so first things first, let's get it over with. I need to trim my nails. It's gonna break soon. I learned a lesson a little bit. Like if I press it hard and you can pull it like that. Oh, I think I got a new color. And yes, I do speak Japanese. 日本語全然話しますよ。Da-da! Green. They did a poor job painting it. Oh, every time. Where'd it go? Ooh. I think I stepped on it. There we go. Yep, every time. There you go. Green and green. Doesn't really. Hey, James. Okay, so things that you shouldn't do in Japan. It's so funny because like when I Google, first thing that pop up is don't eat and walk. Aw, I'm gonna get arrested. Were you born in Japan? Yes. So we cover this. Eat and not talk. Eat and walk. You just need to be careful of the surrounding. Of course, you shouldn't be eat, and there we go. Here we go. So I think we have a couple of mods today. So cool. All right. If it gets too out of hand, then I will do. 久しぶり, Sherry. 久しぶり. So eat and walk, you just need to, like, you won't be eating bowl of ramen and walk, right? So as long as you are eating, like, you would see a couple people right outside of a convenience store eating like famichiki or something. So something that you really like bite size and handy, you can. But just don't litter. Japan doesn't really have any public trash cans, so you have to be responsible for your trash. Sorry, I'm driving at the moment. I can't just say that's okay. I think I see a couple of other people. So Wayne, thank you. The second thing, this is I think common knowledge that don't talk loud or like talk on the phone. On the train or bus, any public transportation, if you are, what about drinking water or soda? That's fine. That's completely fine. I do that a lot. You will see a lot of people who have like a coffee cup, and all the convenience stores would have coffee machines. So you don't have to spend like 600 yen on the single cup of coffee at the Starbucks. But you can just go to nearest conveni and you can get the coffee for like 200, 300 yen a cup. So I do that when I have like a early morning meeting or something. You can sip and walk. When it comes to transportations, yes, you shouldn't be talking pretty much at all. Like even if you are not on the phone, or you're just like talking with the person who's riding with you. You should be kind of not whispering, but like keep your voices down. And don't stare and look at someone's eyes. Yep. Yeah, Japanese people don't make eye contacts in general, so that's one of the tell that to see if the Japanese person have studied overseas or lived overseas, because when they can hold the eye contact, even if they are speaking Japanese, that means they might have some experience overseas. Hi, Kirsten, Erin, go Team Bear, おはようございます。Cafe, for example, there are cafes that have a free outlet, and I sometimes use it, but those kind of places, depending on how quiet it is, but normally you are able to have a web meeting, like Zoom meeting, as long as it doesn't state it on the wall, say like no Zoom meeting. Then you're gonna have to step outside for taking the call, and then of course you shouldn't be doing the meeting. The only place I thought that I was able to do Zoom meeting and I couldn't was Komeda Coffee. So Komeda Coffee is one of the biggest popular chain cafe throughout Japan. But interestingly, I think they're too popular, so they don't want to stay too long. So they just had a not like this is something you shouldn't be doing here. Like please understand, including like staying over 2 hours or something like that. It happens a lot near the station. Sometimes they give you a time card, so you should be leaving like you are pink or you are green or whatever the card said, and then on there it says like your time is up to until this time, and you can ignore it, but they would actually come around and tap on your shoulder like, oh sorry, you are team pink, so you have to leave soon, nicely. So you might want to. The only time that I got kind of like irritated about that system was that they didn't say anywhere, and after I made a purchase, So I was going to stay more than like 3-4 hours, and so I got the large coffee. And then after the order and I made the payment, they gave me the card like, oh, you can stay only 90 minutes. I was like, then I could have just like gotten the smaller one, right? So that can happen. So if you are comfortable asking, you might want to ask them beforehand. Um, the public transportation wise, well, one, you shouldn't be like eating much. Drinking's fine. Some people drink alcohol too. I don't recommend it, but some people actually do. I refrain from that. But a snack, that's fine. Like onigiri, fine, as long as you don't drop anything. Probably not like as big as bento. So if you need to, okay, so when it comes to walking and eating or like riding on the public transportation and eating, is whether or not you can eat it by one hand. I think that's like a really good measure. And then it doesn't smell. Those are two things that you might want to keep in mind to figure out like whether or not you can. When it comes to bento, you have to hold it with your both hands, and then you have chopsticks. So you have to do this. So you're using two hands, right? But if it's like yakitori, that's one hand, right? And then like nikuman, probably not. Nikuman smells. Yakitori might smell too. But like something like onigiri, that's one hand. So that might be a good measure. Drink, of course, you could just drink like this. And you might not want to bring any food on a really crowded train for sure. So if you can have like a place that you can sit and then not so many people standing, then you can kind of sneaking food on the train. The one thing I noticed since I moved to Tokyo, I probably did it myself too, and then quickly realized like, oh, I shouldn't do it. And is that before the kaisatsu gate, the ticket gate, you tap your suica or you put the tickets through, and many people would come up to the kaisatsu gate and then trying to see the signs. Like, that's just not the foreigners, it's probably Japanese people who just came to Tokyo, that they're like, they don't want to make a mistake of going there. And so they just stop before kaisatsu before they make a decision. And they're like, okay, which platform, which line? Is this the right gate, right? And then you think you're like stopping for like, I don't know, 1 second. But in that 1 second, you would have 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 people behind you. And if it's like an open wide space, we have many different gates, and probably they just use the different gates. But there are places that they only have like one, or they have the I think it was the color was orange. Between certain line to certain lane, there is no charge, and you can just swipe, not swipe, touch the suica, and then you can transfer. But there's only one lane for that. And so if you stop there, you have to see the dark side of Japanese people, especially Tokyo people. They are crunched with time all the time. So yeah, I always try to step off the side, and when I'm not certain, that's the perfect way to do it. But a lot of people do that in front of the Kaisetsu gate, and then also after, especially if it's a subway, you go up the stairs, and then when you get on the top of the stairs, you see the street, and then you don't know which way to go, and you're like, Google Maps, right? I made it, yay! No, I was gonna say congratulations. Thank you for the super chat. And go Team Berry. There are so many things all at once. I can heart it, ne? I'm just gonna heart it. So make sure you step aside. Otherwise, Japanese people can be very, very passive aggressive. So what they do is that they don't use words. They will shove you through. And even if they use words, there's like one time, there's only one gate for a particular line, and I was right behind them, and then there are two girls from other countries. They were speaking English, and then they're like, I don't know what to do, and then they kicked me out, and because they are traveling, so like everything is fun for them, right? And then I was about to say like, oh, you have to step back and you have to touch again, or actually that was for transfers, like, are you transferring, or otherwise you have to use the other gates, right? And then before I was going to say something, so I'm pretty quick at anything, but the lady behind me was way quicker than me, and she was pissed, and she just came at them, grabbed their arm, and then I was like, you stay back, you go again, something like that. I was like, okay. So the thing is, Japanese people don't know, if you touch someone, that's an assault. So if you do that in other country, you're gonna get hit in the face. But Japanese people, especially women, don't know that. So they actually do a physical damage to you because they don't think that, oh, I'm not punching that person. I'm just grabbing their arm and then physically, like allowing them to touch the pass or whatever. Yeah, she's mad. um, but people normally don't do the overseas because we know that then we gotta get attacked, right? But the foreign girls, maybe they didn't understand the tone, or I don't know, or they're like, they got the fact that she was angry, so they was like, oh, arigatou gozaimasu, and then they went. So I was like, okay, good job, guys. But that's the side of Japanese people you will end up seeing if you just decided to stop in front of the kaisatsu gate or the exit, and just go along the flow. And if you, it's like a Japanese people are sardines, right? And so if you are going against the flow, or if you are trying to get away from the flow, and just step aside and then take a look at your phone. So that's one thing for your safety, for your good experience in Japan. Other thing is that this is like a small thing. It's not don't, but we don't have that tip culture. So even if you had a really good service or something, maybe unless you go to like a kabakura or a host club or something, maybe then you can do that. I don't know. I never been. Like a gift or present, right? So, but in Japan we don't have the tipping culture, so don't. It's they're legally not allowed to accept any money beyond whatever the price for the food or service they provide. So just don't do that. Always make sure your Suica has enough funds. True. Once we got the mobile Suica, it's gotten a lot better, easier, because you can like just charge with your phones and a credit card. And as long as you have the minimum fare, so I think like 150, 60, 70, somewhere around there, you can go in the gate. And then while riding on the train, you have to add some money unless you're going to somewhere nearby. Otherwise, you will get like, the gate would close when you try to get out. And then when that happens, and then also they would, like, the people behind you would like give you the dirty look. I was like, what? You didn't charge your Suica, right? So, physical cars, I'm not so sure about that. So during COVID, they run out of a lot of materials, and I don't know they have recovered from that. So maybe they are not able to provide a physical suica. So you might need to get the phone one. So I think today I have like a lot of new people. So I'm from Japan. So I guess like one of the first questions I always get from the new people is like, "Are you Japanese? What? Are you American? What?" Right? I'm a very confusing person. So I'm Japanese. I got one this spring. Oh, okay, okay. So depending on where, which station you go, maybe. If you go to maybe bigger ones, better. I don't know. But my small ones are minor, so maybe they have some stock. I don't know. I don't know. Try a couple of stations. The other thing, like there are like some common things that Japanese people don't wear shoes on inside, so you gotta take off your shoes. Or Japanese transportation fees are complicated. Really? Really? Well, if it's too complicated, then I would recommend that using the city bus or Yamanote-sen. Yamanote-sen, it's the same price everywhere, right? I just use Suica, so I never had to kind of buy the ticket. The other thing, like, I think this is particularly in Tokyo, not so many public bathrooms have a hand soap. So you might want to get like a paper soap or something that you can carry around in your backpack. And also they don't have a paper towel. Sometimes they have the air thing, like dry air coming through. If you don't mind using that, then sure. But most of the train stations don't have that fancy equipment. So you just end up with like wet hands and know what to do. So you might want to bring like a small handkerchief or towel, keep it around. The, 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 I think one of the big thing is when you are eating. And well, of course, like we do itadakimasu and gochitsou-sama, I don't really do that. Other things, like I think this is coming from like movies and TV and whatnot, but Japanese people don't do this for a lot of things. So one of the small things that I noticed, and then those actors are not Japanese in those movies, so like, yeah, that's why they don't notice. That's not common. But like when they say like "arigatou gozaimasu," like and like "yoroshiku onegaishimasu," right? Like what are those hands, right? So don't do it. And only time we are allowed to do this is when we say "itadakimasu" before eating and then "gochitsou-sama" after eating. And that's something the parents teach little kids, so little kids do that. Like when you go to kindergarten and the teacher will say, "手を合わせましょう. Itadakimasu." Right? So something like that. But I don't think we would do it in third and high school, because high school it's more like we don't eat as a whole. We just grab friends and then go anywhere that we want and then eat. So we don't even say itadakimasu. Maybe up to junior high school, because we serve a school lunch. Then that means we are eating at the same time in a classroom, and we usually have the leader of the day, and then they do a little speech, and then we do the itadakimasu. If you want to talk about, if you want to know high school in Japan, I talked about it. I'm doing this live stream every day, so you can go through the archive. I think I did yesterday, right? According to YouTube videos, the hardest part in Japan is working very hard. Maybe I can talk about that. Okay, I can talk about that. Like the stressful senpai situation and all that. Yeah. Let's talk about that maybe tomorrow. The other thing is that how you use chopsticks might be a little difficult. Not when you're eating it, but like where to place. you are not allowed to put your chopsticks. Well, first of all, while you're eating, technically you shouldn't be putting down your chopsticks. So you should be like keeping the chopsticks in your hand. And if you absolutely need to place somewhere, you have to put it on the chopsticks rest, but like hashioki. But you can't put it in on the miso soup cup or rice bowl, or you can't point it at to the person in front of you, or you can't use a chopstick to move around the dishes, or if you want to share some food, you shouldn't be transferring some food with your chopsticks to the other person's chopsticks. The other thing is that you shouldn't be putting a chopstick. So there's like if there is a bowl of rice here, and then some people do like and stick it through it, and then so chopsticks are standing. And most of the reason why is because those are involved in funeral. So when we cremate the body, so after cremation, we have. So I don't know how you guys do cremation in other countries, but we don't deal with ashes. After cremation, the human don't. Yeah, it's not ashes. It's bones, right? So it's kind of crispy bones, and so when you have bones, we start from toes, and then they will give you the what are they called? What's the container that you keep ashes? Can't remember. Suddenly I can't remember. Anyway, somebody tell me. So there's like a little urn. Yes, urn. Thank you. So you have the urn, you get the urn, and then you start from the toes, and then the first one should be the Adam's apple for some reason. So you keep the Adam's apple, and then you go from the toe to the head, and then you would. It's not like the whole skull. It's like crispy, so it's like many parts, and you have like a really long chopstick, and then with the family and the friends, you would grab a piece of bone, and then you would transfer to your friends, and then you put it in an urn. And so that means when you're doing this, when you're eating, that reminds Japanese people of a funeral, if they have been to one. The other thing is that when you do the sticking thing on the rice is also funeral. Oh, after funeral. Not so many households have this, but traditionally we usually have the butsudan, and then butsudan is where you have the some people put the urn in the actual grave, so they might not have the physical ashes, or it's really weird to say ashes because it's not ashes, bones. Right? However, they have some pictures, and then they decorate the place and the little section of the butsudan, and then I think it's like a little bit Buddhism, so I don't have it. But then but my grandparents have it. When my grandpa died, yeah, they have like a small butsudan. So because we didn't know, but my grandpa, I think he really he was a little bit religious person. It's not really common in Japan to be that religious. That religious? No, he's not that religious. It's just like he just had a specific instructions for the funeral. That's it. And so he wanted the butsudan and everything. And so in front of the butsudan, we have now this is the ashes. Well, not human ashes, but ash. And then you would take two not inscented how do I say senko? Anybody know senko? The one that you light it up. Not the scented one. incense sticks, really? Incense? Okay, incense. So we have like a long sticks, joss sticks, okay. I forgot. So you take 2 of those and then put it on the ash, like mountain of ash, and then you light it up, and then don't blow it. You have to do this. You can't use your breath. And then you do teen with the metal thing, and then this is the other time that you would put your hands together. There you go. And then you pray, right? Well, that's not pray to the god, or the pray to the person who passed away, né? And so that's the whole flow. And then some place they have bowl of rice, and then put the incense, 2 incense sticks on the rice. So again, it reminds me of somebody passing away. So that's why you have to be a little bit careful with how you use chopsticks. But is there a reason why you can't use your breath? I think there's a reason why, and I can't remember. I guess it's rude to the like breathing onto someone is rude, right? So I think it's something along the way, the breathing to the descendant or god if you are at the temple. So when you are there are so many temples that gives you, or you can purchase incense sticks, and then you can put it in the mountain of ash, right? Same thing. You shouldn't be you should be using your hand, or you can kind of lightly swing it around, but there you are risking like just breaking the whole stick. So anyway, it's a very interesting topic, by the way. If you think of it, like, you don't really think of it when you are just living and when you are born in that country, but when you are trying to go like one by one, it's like, oh, this is something you shouldn't do, this is something you shouldn't do. Yeah, so this is a very interesting topic, I guess. All right, so I gotta get going, and then I will see you tomorrow then. Okuribito. Yeah, Japanese Undertaker. Yeah, that might be an interesting movie to see, like learning Japanese culture about the whole funeral and everything. Because like that's something you can't really experience, or something you can't, ask people. So, alrighty. So, I was gonna say I found a good topic for tomorrow, and I was like, oh, we can cover that tomorrow. Do you guys know? Do you guys remember? If you remember, let me know in the comment section, because I can't remember. I know that I said like, that might be something that I can cover tomorrow, and then I don't remember now. All right, so I will see you tomorrow. Bye.